This is the QTV Nightly News, and I am Jules Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The National Assembly members on Monday began debating the President's State of the Nation address delivered on Thursday in the ongoing trial of Ousseynou Bojang over the fatal shooting of two PIU officers and the injured of another. Justice Ibrahima Jaite ordered West Coast Radio to produce an audio interview between government spokesperson Ibrahima G. Sankare and Peter Gomez. The Ministry of Trade has announced new nationwide bread prices set to take effect from the 1st of July 2025, following an agreement with Bakers Union and other stakeholders. On Friday, the first ever West Africa Economic Summit officially kicked off in Abuja, Nigeria, under the theme Unlocking Trade and Investment Opportunities in the Region. Now, in a significant ceremony held on Saturday, Action Aid International de Gambia commemorated the Day of the African Child in Jufure in the North Bank region. These and other stories coming ahead to stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, this is the QTV Nightly News. Now, National Assembly members on Monday began debating the President's State of the Nation address delivered on Thursday, June 19, 2025. As we hear in this report by Ansumana Esonyasi, while some NAMs criticized and challenged the President to do more in sectors such as security and energy, others were full of praise for the government.
This debate of the President's State of the Nation address presents an opportunity for National Assembly members to share their views and that of their constituents on the Head of State's report on the country's current state of affairs, while holding the executive accountable as they highlight the successes and shortcomings of the Barrow administration in the current fiscal and legislative year. Several names, including Honorable Asan Toure, the member for Bakau, Honorable Amadou Kamara, the member for Nyanija, Honorable Alfousseni Sise, the member for Same, and Honorable Abdullah Njai, member for Banjul Central, shared their views on the President's address. Among the sectors that featured prominently in their deliberations were national security, agriculture, and energy. They also highlighted the need for a more robust policy on domestic and international cooperation and expressed concern about escalating conflict in the Middle East, arguing that instead of calling for restraint, the President should have condemned Israel for what they described as unjustified aggression against Iran.
I want to engage the Honorable Vice President, as stated by the Head of State, that the 15th OIC Summit was a success. In my view, I would express this as a failure, instead a success.
Honorable Speaker, this Parliament has a great opportunity for us to make history. And in that, this revised draft constitution that is coming, it is not a document for Honorable Amadou Kamara, or document for the executive, but it's a document for the entire Gambia.
In the report also they talk about the fertilizer, that they have reduced the fertilizer last year. But we would want to know this year what the price fertilizer will be.
We will all agree, both side of the caucuses can agree that Gambia really is not very safe, because the crime rate every single day, you will the first thing you will see on the internet is someone has killed someone, or someone has stabbed someone, or road accidents, frequent road accidents and stuff like that. So these are issues that beg the question: where exactly are we? What's the status of our security sector reform aspect?
While some in the minority stress the need to institute frameworks that respond to the needs of Gambians, government-leaning NAMs implored fellow parliamentarians to pass the revised draft constitution when reintroduced. Members for Nyamina West, Sani Mentereng, and Fuladu West, Honorable Biram J. Sow, Honorable Fatu Cham, and Honorable Bakari Kora weighed in.
We commend the government for coming to our aid at this time on the Lumo, and this I definitely recommend for the government and the ministry concerned to emulate in other places like Farafenye, Wasu, and Sare Bojo.
Yes, you can have Uruguay in any sectors, but I don't think you will have fully full-fledged Yoruba when the essential commodities of our country is hiking every day.
Looking at this percentage shows you that our education system, I know we may have some challenges, but as far as the government is concerned, we are on track.
The Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow, along with several cabinet ministers, attended Monday's debate as they prepare to face parliamentarians this week to answer questions on various sectors, government interventions and development programs under their purview. Answane So Nyasi for KTV News.
Now, there was another turn of events at the Banjul High Court in the ongoing trial of Usainu Bojang over the shooting to death of 2 PIU officers and the wounding of another. Justice Ibrahim Ajaite was hearing an unopposed application of defense. Counsel Adama Silla, representing the second accused, Ami Bojang, ordered the proprietor of West Coast Radio to produce before the court the audio recording of an interview between the government spokesperson Mr. Ibrahim Ajit Sankare and Mr. Peter Gomez. Here are the details.
Testifying under cross-examination, the sixth defense witness, Ibrahim Ajit Sankare, one of 3 government officials subpoenaed as defense witnesses, admitted to the interview he had on 14 September 2023 with Peter Gomez on Coffee Time on West Coast Radio relating to the alleged shooter. Sankare, however, contended that he did not mention the name of the alleged paramilitary shooter in the interview. When Defense Counsel Silla asked Sankare whether he had the interview in question, he said he did not. Defense Counsel Silla then applied to the court to order the proprietor of West Coast Radio to produce the said interview. This application was not opposed by the Director of Public Prosecution A.M. Yusuf or defense lawyer Lamin J. Dabo, representing the first accused, Usainu Bojang. The trial judge, in his ruling, stated that having considered the relevance and probative value of the requested material to a fair and just resolution of the issues before the court, granted the request and issued an order for an unaltered audio recording of the interview to be produced by the proprietor of West Coast Radio. Still testifying, the former journalist Sankare stated that apart from West Coast Radio, no media house had an interview with him pertaining to the alleged shooting of the paramilitary officers on 12th of September 2023. Sankare was pressed by Defense Counsel Dabo to confirm whether he had said in an interview with West Coast Radio that the alleged shooter, Usainu Bojang, was part of the protest during Brikama Area Council Chairperson Yankuba Dabo's court trial. Director of Public Prosecution Yusuf objected to this question, stating that in evidence-in-chief, defense are expected to ask indirect questions, which, according to him, the statement in question was not before the court. Defense counsel disclosed that the interview Mr. Sankare had with West Coast Radio was also published by the print newspapers, which were admitted as exhibits 17, 18, 19 and 20. Mr. Sankare affirmed that the police gave him the information he shared in the interview with West Coast Radio. The trial continues. Court reporting is by Nicholas Bass of The Voice newspaper and narrated by me, Ari Darami, for QTV News.
Now, the Ministry of Trade has announced new nationwide bread prices set to take place from the 1st of July 2025, following an agreement with the Bakers Union and other stakeholders. Aissatou Bari has the rest of that story.
In May 2025, the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment issued a press release informing the public that the price of bread will remain at $10 per loaf, while they continue to negotiate with the Gambia Bakers Union. Following a nationwide assessment of bread production costs across the country, the Ministry of Trade, together with the Bakers Union, the Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and the Consumer Consortium, convened last month to finalize agreements on the price, weight, and quality of bread. The aim was to ensure a fair outcome that supports both bakers and consumers, and to ensure that bread as an essential food commodity is available and accessible by the population. From July 1st, 2025, the price of Senfour will be fixed at $12 for a 160-gram loaf, while Tapalapa will sell for $12 per 190-gram loaf. The decision is expected to bring clarity and consistency to one of the country's most essential food items. The Ministry of Trade also announced that bread will be available for sale at the bakeries at $10 per loaf. The ministry says it will continue to monitor and engage stakeholders in the value chain for lasting solutions, considering the wider interest of the public. Furthermore, the ministry is urging all stakeholders to adhere strictly to the agreed open weights and prices for both Senfur and Tapalapa bread, in line with the terms of the agreement. The ministry, through its legal metrology department under the Gambia Standard Bureau, will also monitor compliance with the agreed weights and will sensitize the public on how to determine the weight of fresh bread. The ministry also issues a stern warning that any individual or entity found producing bread below the agreed weight will be in breach of the agreement and will face appropriate consequences in accordance with the established regulations. Aisa Tobari, QTV News.
Now we are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we will hear from the inaugural West Africa Economic Summit, which began in Nigeria on Friday, plus coverage of the Day of the African Child commemoration in the North Bank region, organized by Action Aid International, the Gambia. We'll be right back.
The art of juggling is a true spectacle of agility, coordination, and speed. A symbol of progression, precision, and mastery. "5G speed is like having the juggler in your pocket.
Amazing.
With lightning-fast download and upload speeds, you'll easily be able to juggle even the busiest workdays. Whether you're a busy entrepreneur, a creative, or just someone who wants to stay connected, juggle your tasks with ease with QCell 5G speed. The future is here. It's fast, reliable, and efficient. First brought to you by QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. This is QTV News. Now to the rest of our stories. On Friday, the first ever West Africa Economic Summit officially kicked off in Abuja, Nigeria, under the theme Unlocking Trade and Investment Opportunities in the Region. Mam Naboka was there, and this is her report.
West Africa is a region rich in natural and mineral resources, producing 30% of the world's cocoa and 15% of its gold, and is a major player in oil and gas. Despite boasting a population of 428 million, with an economy valued at $600 billion, the region currently has 40% of its population living below the poverty line. This is worsened by political instability, infrastructure gaps, commodity dependence, and climate-related agricultural risks, which is quite alarming as agriculture employs 60% of the workforce in the region. This West Africa Economic Summit, the first of its kind, is taking place in Nigeria at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja, formerly the International Conference Center. The event united leaders, policymakers, business stakeholders, and youths who make up 40% of the West African population, and had a diverse range of panel discussions under the theme Unlocking Trade and Investment Opportunities in the Region. The goal is to foster regional cooperation and economic integration, attract investment, and ensure that there is impactful, sustainable development across West Africa, to position the region as a globally competitive and unified bloc, where there will be peace and prosperity for all as per the ECOWAS 2050 vision. Here is His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of Nigeria and Chairperson of ECOWAS.
Europe left Africa behind in the previous industrial revolutions. We cannot afford to miss the next one. Our rare minerals, perhaps tomorrow green technologies, yes, it is not enough to be resource rich. We must become value chain smart. The era of one pit to the port must end.
The summit lasted for 2 days, during which there was a high level of policy dialogue where leaders discussed how to accelerate regional economic integration, a private sector engagement to highlight opportunities for public-private partnerships, and a youth and women inclusion panel to center conversations around how youths can be empowered to drive tomorrow's economy, among other things. One of the summit's highlights was discussing the African Continental Free Trade Area, which aims to create a single market for goods and services across the continent. With the potential to boost intra-African trade by over 50% by 2030, AfCFTA represents a significant opportunity for West Africa to realize its dream of a unified market. Baboucarr Oudiouf, Gambia's Minister of Trade, spoke on behalf of President Adama Barrow at the summit.
In line with the National Development Plan of the Gambia and broader ECOWAS integration agenda, we have taken concrete steps to position the Gambia as an attractive investment destination. We are currently implementing our national AfCFTA implementation strategy with attention cast on streamlining customs procedures, reducing trade barriers, and creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
Joseph Boakai is the president of Liberia.
Peace and stability are the foundation upon which our economic aspirations must rest. With Liberia's accession to the Security Council, we are determined to be the principal voice for the region, advocating for just solutions to global and regional challenges and advancing the values that unite us.
The West Africa Economic Summit is a pivotal moment forward for a region that is rich in culture, potential, and resources. The region's GDP is projected to see an increase of 4.3% by 2026-2027. However, sustained progress hinges on good governance and security, investment in youth and women, regional integration, and climate resilience. The summit is set to see to it that growth begins with harmonized trade policies between West African states and the mobilization of financial resources for critical infrastructure. Reporting for QTV News from Abuja, I am Mamna Buka.
Now, in a significant ceremony held on Saturday, Action Aid International The Gambia commemorated the Day of the African Child in Jufure, Opanyomi District, North Bank region. As Usman Jatta reports, the event drew together key stakeholders, parents and students in a show of solidarity for the children's rights.
The Day of the African Child is observed annually in remembrance of the more than 100 South African students who were massacred in 1976 during a protest demanding equal access to quality education. This solemn day has since become a platform to raise awareness about the rights of African children and to advocate for continuous improvements in their education, health, and overall well-being. Joining the rest of the continent, Action Aid International The Gambia hosted a commemorative event planning and budgeting for children's rights progress since 2010 at Albreda in the North Bank region. Salimata Diouf, head girl of Albreda Senior Secondary School, highlighted the importance of protecting children's rights and ensuring their voices are heard.
A child should not be discriminated, which means all children have potential in all situations. Everyone should be aware that education is the foundation of the children. In school, the children are able to realize their dreams, their habits, their goals.
Action Aid International The Gambia continues to play a critical role in promoting children's rights, particularly in rural areas. The organization supports 158 villages, serving a population of 65,000 beneficiaries. Its programs address personal hygiene, nutrition, shelter, legal support, and inclusive education, especially for marginalized children and those with disabilities. Alaji Kamara, sponsorship manager at Action Aid International The Gambia, reiterated the organization's commitment to safeguarding children's welfare across the country.
Action Aid is directly supporting over 15,000 children, school-going children, by distributing essential learning materials yearly on books, bags, shoes, pencils, and equally building sanitary materials for them like toilets, organizing school tournaments.
The Gambia is a signatory to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, and has adopted various local strategies such as the National Child Protection Strategy to enforce these rights. Mortala Sise is the Regional Education Director for the North Bank region.
I think the government is not being left out also in trying to protect the rights of the children, in the sense that some of these rights include the right to education. I think these are all basic things that is happening in the Gambia, of which the government is trying to nurture very well.
Deputy Governor Dembo Samate also spoke at the event, outlining regional efforts to promote children's rights. He urged stakeholders to design policies that put children at the center of development planning.
If we are truly committed protecting and promoting children's rights, then our local development plans must reflect that the commitment in practical and measurable terms.
This year's theme calls for reflection on how far the continent has come since 2010 in investing in children's rights and what more can be done to ensure every African child has access to quality education, healthcare, protection and a safe environment. Osman Jata reporting for QTV News.
Now, in their quest to enhance and improve the services of the country's higher education sector, officials from key governance bodies in the university governing councils convened a day-long session to familiarize themselves with the rules governing them. Loli M. Kamara attended the opening, and this is her report.
This workshop comes as there is a national push for reform, including at the University of the Gambia, UTG, and other public institutions. Strengthening university councils is a step toward creating autonomous, transparent, and accountable institutions that produce employable graduates and drive innovation. The role and collective good practice of university governing councils refer to how universities are managed and guided at the highest level. Governing councils are the top decision-making bodies in public universities, and their purpose is to ensure the university are run well, use their resources wisely, and maintain high academic standards. Among other things, the university governing councils are responsible for strategic leadership, setting the vision, mission, and long-term goals of the university, and making major decisions about how the university is run. The National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority, NACA, are part of the workshop, and Dr. Momodu Lamin Taro is the Chief Executive Officer of NACA.
Objective is simple, yet profound, to deepen our collective understanding of university governance, share good practices, and strengthen the oversight role of governing councils in driving quality, accountability, and institutional growth. We at NACA believe that strong governance is the bedrock of a credible and effective higher education system.
In the Gambia, while structures like these exist, their functioning is not always effective due to interference, capacity issues, and weak accountability. Thus, strengthening them with clear guidelines, proper training, and independence is key for the future of higher education. Here is the Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Professor Pierre Gomez, on what prompted the ministry to support this workshop.
Universities are representatives of government at council level because they are government at the university level. So we have different universities now, we have new members, and we needed to have an induction for them. So where now NACA, National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority, will take them through about the do's and don'ts within a university and how they can better serve this country at university governing council level.
This is what the minister outlined as key objectives hoped to be achieved from the discussions.
Well, we believe that from this, universities will be able to have performance contract and, as stated in our national anthem, the common good. We all work for the common good because we are paid by taxpayers. They must feel it. Anything other than that is a betrayal of the Gambian people. And that's what we want them to do, to inculcate that culture of patriotism and hard work, professionalism, and the academic culture to be instilled in all of them.
Additionally, by the end of the workshop, participants are expected to have a clear understanding of how governing councils should function and also receive tools and guidelines to perform their roles more effectively. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara. Of the news bulletin, but before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. National Assembly members on Monday began debating the President's State of the Nation's address delivered on Thursday, June 19, 2025. In the ongoing trial of Usainu Bojang over the fatal shooting of 2 PIU officers and the injured of another, Justice Ibrahima Jaite ordered West Coast Radio to produce an audio interview between government spokesperson Ibrahima G. Sankare and Peter Gomez, following a request by defense lawyer Adama Silla. The Ministry of Trade has announced new nationwide bread prices set to take effect from the 1st of July 2025, following an agreement with the Bakers Union and other stakeholders. On Friday, the first ever West Africa Economic Summit officially kicked off in Abuja, Nigeria, under the theme Unlocking Trade and Investment Opportunities in the Region. In a significant ceremony held on Saturday, Action Aid International de Gambia commemorated the Day of the African Child in Jufure in the North Bank region. This is all we have for you in this edition of the News Bulletin. Join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. for another News Bulletin. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company. It's a bye from me and the rest of the team.